The cartels are 100% cooked. We're going to be talking about Mexican government getting overthrown, and also Venezuela, also known as South American Mexico. South American Mexico is also getting overthrown. This is one of the most diabolical timelines of all time. Trump is going pedals to the metals in regards to obliterating Venezuela, and Gen Z right-wing kids, essentially, are rebelling against the Mexican government that's controlled by the cartels, and they're winning. Lock in, boys and girls. We're here for today, a very, very good episode of geopolitics. Now, I have a stance that a lot of people don't agree with. You see, a lot of people say they're American first, and that means you're not allowed to blow up cartel guys that are killing our people. I, on the other hand, am American first, and also do want to blow up cartel guys that are killing our people. This is my opinion. If you don't like it, you have the right to yours. It's just wrong. And I will be laughing at cartel guys getting blown up, while you could go shit yourself in private. Okay, I'm glad we're all on the same page. So first, they asked Trump, because Trump's been bombing Venezuelan drug boats, and everyone's like, no, the left-wing guy on Twitter's like, I didn't see any evidence that the Mexican drug boat it wasn't a fisherman. Maybe it was fishermen carrying drugs in submarines from Venezuela, and Trump just literally doesn't give a shit and just keeps bombing them, which is based as listen, we're supporting our military with $1 trillion. I want them to kill people that are literally poisoning our people. So this is Donald Trump, president of the United States, when they asked him, are you planning on invading Venezuela?
Venezuela, sir, you've had a lot of meetings on Venezuela. I know you can't tell us what your next steps will be, but can you say, have you made up your mind on what you'd like to do as far as action?
All right, so the question is, have you made up your mind on what you're planning on doing regarding Venezuela? Oh my God.
Might not be excited about another foreign campaign.
And he basically responds with, yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. I just can't tell you. Now, people are being like, why isn't he being transparent? There's the transparency he promised. Bro, he's not gonna explain on national television if he's gonna invade a fucking country, okay? You've got to stop. You've got to stop, all right? You've got to stop, all right? Get the hell out of here. All right, well, it gets even funnier. Because let's just say President Trump is getting really fed up with the fact that Venezuela isn't immediately caving in, and that we might need to keep blowing up their boats. Now, people are very mad, again, because the poor narco-terrorist that's trying to peddle drugs into our country. This is so sad. And this is what Trump had to say about that.
CIA operations in Venezuela.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but some interesting things are happening around the world, I'll say that.
It has been reported that Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation.
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want to fuck around with the United States. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
That's right. That's right. He's offered everything because he don't want to fuck around with the United States. Oh, my God. He thinks he could pay off Trump. All right, listen, I'll be real here. Is Trump human and therefore fallible? Yes. Is Trump also a multi-billionaire with nukes? Yes. So, my guy, you will not be paying this man off if he really doesn't like the idea that you're like literally poisoning our people. All right, the whole you poisoning our people thing, that's just not gonna fly. Actually, that's just actually not gonna like work. I'm not trying to be rude here. It's really not gonna work. Now, the worst YouTuber on the planet decided, hey, I have an idea. I am gonna make the worst take of all time. This is iDubbbz. He's a left-wing political commentator. This is what he had to say about Trump bombing the fuck out of Mexico.
Try to poison our people, we will blow you out of existence.
They're not like he's like, I know the trick. He's really trying to make it sound like you poison our people. It's like, yeah, when it's framed as if it's poison.
It is poison. It's literally fentanyl that is literally poisoning our people. It is literally poisoning our people.
When it's framed as poison, it's
like, poison.
Oh, okay. You know, there's a lot of Americans who are like, oh, he's protecting me.
He literally is protecting us. Bro, you want to buy some flour and some fucking retard put a little bit of fentanyl in there and die over that? Holy retard, yes.
He's protecting me.
Imagine hating Trump so much you want another 150,000 Americans a year to die of fentanyl overdoses.
Hey, what a strong alpha brave defender of Americans. But then when you realize that he's just describing drugs.
Bro, you realize if Trump would have done this in his first term, George Floyd would still be with us. George Floyd died for this, man. Think of George. Think of George. God damn.
Like, obviously, fentanyl is killing people, but it's
Yeah,
not,
obviously.
like, unique.
It's not unique, guys.
Uniquely distributed from people off the coast of Venezuela.
Oh, that's true. You also get poison from other places, so therefore we shouldn't stop the number one supplier of poison, actually. For the record, way more people die from fentanyl, specifically from Venezuela, than from guns. All right? And that's crazy.
I think a lot of them are also just in the Caribbean as well. The whole
that makes
thing
it better.
Is fucking bad.
That changes everything.
But yeah, you frame it as poison.
It is
drugs,
poison.
and it's like, okay.
It is poison.
I wouldn't want to be poisoned.
It is
and
poison.
They're doing all these like bullshit projections as well.
Right.
They were like, oh yeah, for every drug boat blown up, that's saving 50,000 American lives.
Potentially, yeah. Potentially. If all of the drugs on that boat would have been administered to Americans, it would have killed 50,000 people. What is this cuck politics? This is crazy.
It's like, shut the fuck up. Painkillers in hospital, yes, exactly. Painkillers in hospital equals medicine. Painkillers out of hospital equals poison.
Correct. I'm really glad you got that. That is literally true. Yes, 1,000%. His wife was too busy having sex with Hassan Piker, so he had to come out here and make the worst fucking political take you've ever heard in your entire life and support the poisoning of Americans in order to... He hates Trump so much. Imagine hating Trump so much you're overdosing on fentanyl. But the main dish of tonight is Mexico. And I'm going to have to catch you up on the lore here, because a lot of people are watching riots in Mexico. Everyone's going up, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're lighting shit on fire. But you have to understand the level of retard that we're dealing with in the Mexican government. Now, a lot of people say that, the American government is being controlled by Israel or whatever, by a foreign entity, by Russia. It's the Russians that are controlling us. It's Israel. It's Israel, guys, right? So Mexico, the government, is actually being controlled, but by the cartels. Which is not Israel, but give Candace Owens a week or two, and she'll figure out how it actually is Israel. Now, let me introduce you to the lore of Mexican politics. This is the story of a Mexican mayoral candidate, Yesenia Lara Gutierrez, who was fatally shot by a cartel gunman during a Facebook live stream while greeting supporters. She is the second politician killed in the state before the June 1st election. Actually, I'm not going to show it, actually. I decided last second. She literally gets shot on stream. I don't know what I'm doing. She literally gets shot on stream. So this is just a random Mexican politician, mayoral candidate that gets shot and murdered. Okay, what about this clip? This is a clip where the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, has now seen her 37th opponent, after being criticized, coincidentally be assassinated. The 37th mayor assassinated, all right? Another public servant assassinated. He was 44 years old. The Mexican president continues to say it's illegal to go to war against the cartels.
To escalate, tonight, another public servant has been assassinated, this time in Sotelo, Salamanca, Guanajuato. Hermenegildo Vázquez Perez, just 44 years of age, a community delegate, was murdered by a group of armed men who stormed his home in a rural community.
That's pretty suspicious, to be honest. Or what about this story? Mexican mayor stood up to the cartels, gunned down in kamikaze attack weeks after haunting statement. Or what about this? Mexico mayor assassinated. But these are all different mayors, by the way. Mexican mayor assassinated by a cartel hours after Claudia Sheinbaum's presidential election victory. That makes nearly 40 candidates for elected office killed in the 2024 election cycle alone. A higher toll than any other year in modern history. Like, I'll just be real. This is one of the most demonic things I've ever seen in my life. Almost 40 mayors assassinated? 40? It's 37 for the record that I saw. 37 mayors assassinated by cartels. Somebody just said, why don't they just kill the cartels? Because the government is the cartels. She is so bought. And if she wouldn't be, she would be dead. All right? Get out of here. So this is what they're dealing with now. All right? They got the giant One Piece flag. All right? Because One Piece has become the symbol of the rebellion. All right? Everyone's favorite leftists are going to come together to be like, actually, One Piece is a left-wing anime. It's an anime about socialism and communism and fighting against strong men. Yeah, except it's not. One Piece has always been a right-wing anime about fighting for justice against a dictatorial regime. True, but it's always been a right-wing anime. And this over here is a right-wing mob of 20-something-year-olds literally rebelling against the government and tearing it down. Whatever, we're not going to get into my analysis of One Piece politics right now. But that is where we're at, for the record. In case you gotta know. You gots to know. This is a right-wing crowd. The left doesn't believe in justice. The right does. That's kind of where we're at. This is Nepal 2.0. It's insane. Someone in my chat just said, no, One Piece is left-wing. If you think One Piece... Okay, this is going to be just a tiny little tangent. You do realize what One Piece is about Luffy going to different kingdoms, kicking out invaders, leaving it for the ethnic group that actually built that nation and returned the former monarch of every individual nation to his rightful throne. A monarch selected by the right of kings, not by a democracy, all right? As he goes around gathering treasure for himself. Okay, he's not communist in regards to stealing wealth from the king and giving it to the people, all right? He is literally not about that at all. One Piece is right-wing justice. And there's really no other interpretation unless you're completely retarded. But anywho, so that's what we're dealing with right now. Bro, look at this. This is insane. So, Claudia Scheinbaum over here, not having a very good day. Not having a very good day at all. Gen Z protesters storm Mexico City's National Palace after mayor's cartel killing. On November 15th, thousands of Gen Z-led demonstrators breached barricades in Mexico City's National Palace, protesting President Claudia Scheinbaum's administration for alleged cartel corruption, following the November 2 assassination of Uruapan Mayor Carlos Alberto Rodriguez by a Jalisco New Generation cartel-linked shooter. Riot police deployed tear gas and flashbangs amid chants demanding Scheinbaum's removal and accusing your government of enabling a narco-state. True. Why? Allegedly. Well, I don't want to get sued or killed by the cartel. I said allegedly, cartel guys. With clashes escalating as protesters tore down security walls, Scheinbaum dismissed the unrest as manipulated by opponents. Right. Citing recent declines in homicides. Yeah, dude, they all do this. They all literally do this. For the record, Scheinbaum is a far-left retard. Like a far-left, like, classic Free Palestine loser, okay? Like crazy. Insane. Like, it's wild. So anyway, declines in homicides while youth activists call for a stronger anti-crime measures based amid ongoing violent states like Michoacan. So for the record, yeah, no, so she's a Jewish leftist Christian LARPer, all right? She wears a cross necklace. She's ethnically Jewish. She's pro-Palestine. She's one of those, like, George Soros type Jews, all right? Like, it's diabolical. Those woke Jews out there doing whatever they do best. But anywho, this is truly the twists of all time. So basically, they're going up against them, and she decides she is going to scream about how, well, actually, if you look at this stat that's completely manipulated, actually, the crime rate is down. Have you heard that before anywhere? Does that sound familiar? Have you ever heard that in the past? Well. First, before we get into the actual riot of what's going on, you have to see this story on Fox News. A whistleblower basically went out and released everything.
The president of Mexico is furious. She's calling Mexican Senator Lili Tellez a traitor for coming on Fox Noticias with me a few days ago.
Yeah, so for those of you that are unaware, I did cover this a bit ago about how there were actually senators or whatever, the equivalent is in Mexico, going on Fox News being like, I'm scared for my life, the government's corrupt, I have to speak because they're going to kill me, and I'd rather speak before I'm killed rather than after. Like, it's, thank God we have a border. Thank God we have a border. Mr. President Trump, I know that everyone's like complaining and nitpicking about different areas, but holy moly, you saved our country. You saved our country.
Go and saying this. Listen.
The help from the United States to fight the cartels in Mexico is absolutely welcome, and that is how the majority of Mexicans feel. The only ones who don't like that President Trump is sending help and trying to support Mexicans against the cartels are the narco politicians.
Yeah, that's right. And all the narco bought politicians are going to be like, no, we don't want Trump's assistance, actually. Yeah, no shit. You're a terrorist. No duh.
It's President Scheinbaum.
Mexican President Claudia Scheinbaum responding, saying, quote, it's not a minor issue that a senator gave an interview to a foreign media outlet calling for intervention. Here to discuss is that Mexican Senator Lili Tellez.
She's back.
Senator Tellez, welcome to Fox Noticias. I'm just going to get right to it.
All right, and after this, we have to look at the actual protests.
Is Mexico a narco state?
Yes, it is. And real Mexicans know about it. and Mexicans are afraid of the alliance between the Mexican government and the cartels that have...
As you can see, this is North-South America. This is North-South America. Unlike Venezuela, which is Mexican South America.
Have infested our nation.
Can you explain this alliance between the president, her party, the Morena party, and the cartels?
Yes, the party has financed, has given, the cartels have given so much money to these politicians, narco-politicians of Morena, to get into office, to get the power.
Now, people in my chat are criticizing her for you putting, like, all sorts of different plastic and doing surgeries on her face, but I think it's because she wants her face to be bulletproof. All right? Like, I don't want to hate on somebody, like, you know, in her position, I'll be real. Like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of, like, the plastic face thing, but, like, I just think that she's, like, she's putting an extra layer between the cartel and her brain. You know what I'm saying?
So they protect, the Mexican government protects the cartels. That is why President Sheinbaum doesn't want the strong American leadership to help Mexico defeat the cartels.
Yo, I have an idea. What if America defeats the cartels and turns Mexico into the 51st state, except without voting rights? What are we thinking of this idea? All right? And all, but no voting rights. That's the one caveat. We make it, we just, oh my God.
And also, Sheinbaum doesn't want the rest of the world to know what is happening here in Mexico.
Yeah, obviously not, because she's owned by the cartel.
We are on the steps to be the next Venezuela. She is aligned with Venezuela's dictator, with Cuba, and we are losing our country. They have destroyed our Republican institutions, the democratic state, and...
Someone in my chat just said, you're an idiot, we don't need another state. That's why we're going to be making it a territory. No voting rights, no welfare, obviously. It's like Puerto Rico. It's simple. It's easy like that. It becomes one of the territories of the United Continents of America.
We must, I think we all Mexicans want and welcome the support of the United States to assist Mexican people against the cartels that have us all in this crisis with the traffic in fentanyl and migrants.
So her response to this, and I know this because her spokesperson came on our show in response to your interview, and they say, well, we just turned over 26 cartel members. We're working, we're sharing intelligence. What are they not doing? And why is she so resistant? She sort of speaks out of two sides of her mouth. We're working with you, Trump, and then she's chastising you for saying, we need more help from the United States to crush the cartels.
Yeah, because she wants to appease Trump, but she literally is working for the cartels. That's the answer.
Because she really doesn't want the help of the United States. She is lying to Mexican people, telling Mexican people that the United States will get in control of the whole country. Right. I never listened such nonsense from President Trump. What we have listened is that President Trump wants to help Mexican people against the cartels. Mexican people are suffering. So what they do...
Donald Trump gonna come out there, big red hat, make Mexico Spain again. Just start going.
It's very little. We have huge narco politicians here in the Senate, in the presidents, governors. Mexico is a very dangerous place.
That brings me to my next question, because you are speaking very bluntly, very clearly about Mexico being a narco-state and the alliance and the connections to the president of Mexico. Are you afraid for your life?
Damn.
Yes, I am afraid.
I mean, to be fair, they did assassinate 37 mayors, which is like, it's a kind of, I'll be real, it's an insane number. I mean, this is a classic left wing, am I right? So you got a left wing government. They're super woke. They're progressive. They're great about being progressive. They have gay marriage, all right? They're so woke and progressive. Literally owned by a cartel assassinating their opponents. I'm trying to think, were there any assassinations done by mega woke people in America recently? It's almost like the corruption plays hand in hand with this woke bullshit.
And the president has threatened me to proceed against me with criminal prosecution, to get me out of the Senate and get me in jail, just because I told you in this space and Fox News what is the reality of our country with the cartels. The cartels are dominating everything here in Mexico. They are in all the offices of the government in the states, in the cities, and in the
She would absolutely get killed if she ever goes to jail. Like, that's really scary.
national government. So, of course, I am afraid, but I want people to know I will not step back. And I pray under God's guidance that we, the United States and Mexico, must work together to defeat the cartels.
You're asking a big thing here, lady.
And to get freedom for
we have all of the cards,
our country, for Mexico, to stop it from being the next Venezuela.
Senator Lily Tellez, a very brave woman indeed.
Honestly, a very, very brave woman. What's in it for us? Oh, it's simple. Every cartel guy you kill, you replace with an illegal immigrant that you just release into Mexico. That's my opinion. Anyway, so she basically went out. But now let's look at the actual revolt that's going on in Mexico. All right?
Massive protests breaking out in Mexico City. More than 100 police officers were injured in these violent clashes outside of the National Palace. The unrest follows the assassination of a mayor.
Bro, do you remember? I'm sorry. I know that I have to pause for a second. Do you remember just like 2 months ago when Los Angeles was on fire because people were raising Mexican flags, lighting cops on fire, calling Trump a dictator? Do you remember this? Freaking out. No, deportations. Deporting people that invade our country. What a dictator. Going out with flags, lighting cars on fire, staying in cars with Mexican flags. Dog, what is going on? You dare. You mean like yesterday? Yeah, true. Like, you dare criticize Trump when this is what you're dealing with, bro. If I wouldn't be surprised if the cartels own new scum. I know Alex Jones has like this whole theory that China and the communists own the cartels, which might be true because they get a lot of they do a lot of drug trafficking. But we do know for a fact that China has a lot of connections with Gavin Newsom. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's pretty insane. It's kind of wild. The new Mexican war, baby.
Who had criticized Sheinbaum's approach to fighting drug cartels. Demonstrators, many of them Gen Z, accused the president of ignoring cartel violence and rejecting.
I'll be real. Gen Z is Gen Z is changing the world. I'm not even exaggerating when I say it. Gen Z is changing the world. They're like, we are so fucking done with this world order that you put on us for no reason. It's wild.
U.S. help to combat it. Leonardo Falcon and Ignacio Gonzalez are here. They have a podcast called the Leo and Nacho podcast in Mexico, and we've had them on many times on Fox Noticias. I'll start with you, Leo. Why don't you just explain to the American people what is happening at this moment, because Mexico is in full revolt right now.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, good morning to the United States and good morning to you, Rachel. And what Mexico is currently facing is a national awakening. What we're looking at...
The national awakening. Bro, it's happening across the world. People know, like, I really feel like Elon Musk buying X was like the little domino, all right? And now everyone's talking, and everyone's yapping, and everyone's realizing the fact that our countries are being fucking obliterated and controlled by terrorists and retards and invaders. And people are like, we're done. The grand noticing. It's true. Like, there is like this globalist cabal that's fucking with our shit, you know? And we're here now. It's wild.
We're probably looking at us.
Literally, you got like the actual pedophile overlords running the world, trying to destroy us. And people are like kind of tired with it.
It's a protest of the Gen Z movement.
And again, I think the Charlie Kirk assassination woke up America to a large degree, and this mayor assassination in Mexico woke up the entire nation.
In Mexico, where there are no parties that they are leading this. It's the youth, it's the Mexican people. It's not about the left, it's not about the right. It's about the Mexican people wanting the best for the country. And we're all together in this protest. We're all together for a better country. And we see it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We saw over more than 100,000 people during the streets of Mexico. And it was pretty impressive from our part to see it for the first time. And we were actually there. So we're very happy of the people that showed up in the country and that they are pushing for a change.
Nacho, why are the Mexican people so angry at Claudia Sheinbaum, your president?
Bro, they assassinated 37 mayors. I'd be pretty pissed. I mean, what is going on? It's insane. Okay.
Well, in a country which you have 60 murders and 40 missing people a day, every single day, of course they are shocked.
60 murders and 30 missing people every day. Holy moly.
Of course, they are shocked.
Yeah.
We, the youth, are really desperate because we don't see the light. The generations see the teenagers after this situation. We decide to protest.
Yes.
Not with a flag of any political party, no, because they are killing us.
Yes.
That's the reality.
Damn.
Okay, so what do you believe that Claudia?
You know, nothing wakes you up more than knowing that they want you dead. It really is wild. It's like an unbelievably eye-opening moment. You know, nothing wakes you up and radicalizes you more than realizing that they aren't playing by the same rule book as you are. You think that a democracy is inherently fair, and then you realize one side of the democracy will kill you. Charlie Kirk was assassinated because he was the most effective person on the right. He was the most effective person on the right on reaching out and having discussions, open discussions, and that's why they killed him. They tried to assassinate Trump twice, okay? I could list this on and on and on. I get dozens of death threats a day, all right? Those are just threats. They're not nearly as important. Someone showed up to Nick Fuentes' house twice to try to kill him. Someone tried to kill Matt Walsh's children. He has security now, and that person was arrested. Someone tried to kill Benny Johnson. He was arrested. Someone tried to kill the writers of the Babylon Bee, all right? The satire news site. Someone tried to kill them. That guy was arrested. An Alex Jones employee, I'm pretty sure, was killed. Like, you don't understand how insane it is when you think about it. You're not playing a fair game at all. This is not a fair fight, not even remotely.
Sheinbaum is complicit in this. We've had senators on here, Senator Lily Tellez, who bravely said Mexico is indeed a narco-state, and she said that Claudia Sheinbaum and her Morena party, the political party she belongs to, is in business with the cartels. Is that true in your opinion, Leo?
Well, when we look at what Nacho just mentioned, when we look at 60 murders, 40 missing people every single day, the narco-state of Mexico makes it pretty obvious that there's some things going on behind the curtains in the Mexican government. This is sad, but what we look at here...
I mean, dude doesn't want to accuse the cartel, or their podcast is going to have a very, very tragic ending. Like, dude, these people have to be careful. Like, dude, this is not a fair fight, all right? This isn't like, you know, assassins running around killing you that aren't really, you know, that don't have authority from the government. These are people running around that own the government.
Protest is that there's actually a noticing. There's actually a noticing of...
It's the noticing, baby.
All of the Mexican youth, of all of the Mexican families... that
I'll be real. I'm sure that the Mexican youth hates the Jews way more than any American youth. Because, I mean, realistically, the current mayor, this woke retard, the current prime minister is Jewish. Unfortunately for, you know, Jews in general, we got another woke Jew in power. But realistically, it's wild.
Saying, how can this be happening? And when you have such a big amount of the population mad, upset at what's happening in the country, something is going on. And that's when you have a protest like the one we had yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn.
And by the way, people should understand, not only was that mayor murdered in public with his wife and his child.
Crazy, dude. It's insane that this is happening. And everyone's like, oh my God, America's so corrupt. Dictatorship. You see everyone screaming about it. America's the worst country. Dictatorship, fascism. Dude, look at our neighbors. Look at our bottom bitch, okay? Look at our bottom bitch. Look what's happening to them. Oh my God.
Another mayor was executed. He was actually decapitated, his head placed on the hood of his car. This kind of stuff happens all the time. It's totally normalized in Mexico, and the Mexican people are sick of it. Now, President Trump, Nacho, has said, I'm going to take on the cartels in Venezuela. And of course, they're a transnational network, and that includes the cartels in Mexico. He has gone to Sheinbaum and said, will you help me? But her help appears to be very superficial, not real. What do the Mexican people want, Nacho? Especially Generation Z, because Generation Z is the one who is sort of fueling this protest.
Yeah,
in
that's
fact,
right.
Claudia Sheinbaum printed out the names of all the Gen Z influencers like yourselves.
No! The president of Mexico released a hit list of YouTubers that criticize the government? You've got to be kidding me. Like, I've been on hit lists for, like, random retard, like, leftoids on Blue Sky or whatever. The president? Are you surprised? Yes, that's insane.
Who were encouraging people to come out and protest, which is like putting a list out for the cartels.
Yeah.
So tell me, do the young people like you want the help from President Trump's administration and from our military?
The Generation C want peace. We don't care if that peace come with American flag in the left arm or the right arm. We don't care. We want peace. The situation we're living in Mexico is crazy. It's crazy, and we have a president who prefers to talk about influencers and content creators instead of fixing the real problem,
which is the cartels.
Which is the cartels. What the problem is, we all know it. But
you know that
she
the
prefers
problem
to look the other way.
Correct. Last word, Leo. Do the Mexican people, does Generation Z Mexicans want President Trump to eradicate the cartels, even if that includes military work, military actions?
I think that's a great question, Rachel. And I think this question works for every single country that is facing such a big and important problem, such as in Mexico.
Yeah, true.
When the Mexican people is in these conditions, when the Mexican people is desperate, as Nacho said, we don't care if it's Russia. We don't care if it's Russia. We don't care if it's the United States.
Oh my God! They just want Mexico free of this like nightmare that they've been living under forever.
We just want collaboration to end this problem for once and for all. We want peace for the Mexican people. We want growth for the Mexican people. We want the future Mexican kids to be in a state of peace, not in a state of war and in a state of insecurity. We don't want it anymore.
Yeah. Well.
Damn, that is crazy. Oh, we'll take it wherever we can get it.
You are our neighbors, our biggest trading partners. What happens in Mexico?
This is why you don't elect a woman. I'm sorry. Kidding. Just kidding. Just joking. Kidding. Or am I?
Should matter to our entire hemisphere.
Very excited for the Marjorie Taylor Greene video I'm going to be working on right after this. Japan elected. No, that's true. Japanese woman is awesome. She's great. So far. Look, I'm obviously... Have you ever read the Book of Judges? All right, the Book of Judges, it's one of the books in the Old Testament. It's a great book. 12.5% of the judges were women. The other 87.5% were men. Now, you could say it's a coincidence, but God elected them. God elected 87.5% men via the prophets. So, like, you know.
Especially the United States. So... we wish you luck, and we are really proud of the courage of your generation to stand up to cartel violence, corruption, and crime, and take that on in the streets. So good luck. Thank you, Leo and Nacho. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel. We are going to win. Thank you. Have a good day.
You got it.
Damn, holy moly, this is getting crazy. So Decoy Voice just made a video talking about Mexico is done. All right, so lock in. We got to see this. All right, now it's time to look at the actual on-the-ground riot.
Mexico just saw massive protests against their liberal president, Sheinbaum, which got so intense, their police even brought back the Greek phalanx. But
what? Bro, they brought back a phalanx of riot shields! Holy mioli.
But oddly, the mainstream media skewed this story.
Protesters attacked police, breached barrier at Mexico's National Palace during rally.
From the perspective of the accused narco president.
Of course, obviously, the media's on the side of the fucking leftist narco president. Duh. Super obvious.
It'll be interesting to see which outlets view this from the citizen side and which writers report this from the perspective of the cartels.
It's really interesting because I didn't even like consider doing this looking at this like from the perspective of the cartels, because like the cartels murdered 37 mayors. That's kind of when I was like deciding that, actually that's pretty not cool.
All of this started when a Mexican mayor took on the cartels, only to be assassinated days later. The Trump administration began planning going into Mexico with the military, stating the cartels run their government.
Because the cartels have a tremendous grip on Mexico and the politicians and the people that get elected.
To which Mexican President Sheinbaum stated something to the effect of, "We must protect the cartels from fascism."
Entonces, estos autoritarios.
Oh my God! You have to understand what this is what I'm talking about, man. This is what I've been saying the entire time. A actual tyrant fascist owned by the cartels is like, we have to protect our people from fascism like Donald Trump. The duly elected president of the United States. Dude didn't even need to assassinate any of his political opponents, okay? All right. Let me just say, dude did not even have to assassinate a single political opponent to get there, bro. Not you personally, not accusing anyone. You profited off the assassination of 37 people. 37 people.
Son autoritarios. Es ir hacia el fascismo.
Oh, Trump fascist, Trump fascist. And the crazy thing is, these buzzwords work. You know Hassan Piker is on defense of these people, right? You know they're on defense of these guys.
Now, obviously, we're not able to translate this one-to-one, because if their president really claimed protect the rights of the cartels, that would
By the way, over 120 people were injured already in this protest.
Insane, which is exactly how the Mexican citizens are responding, as their president quickly built massive barricades in anticipation of Saturday's protest, to which it originally appeared to be genuinely peaceful.
Mostly peaceful.
As they chanted against their alleged narco-president.
Dude, the One Piece flags are crazy. And you know, I love the One Piece flags at these protests because it literally is return the power to the people, not this dictatorial, fascist, conquering regime, right? Like, it's wild, man. This is like actually the Dressrosa arc in One Piece.
And aside from all the One Piece pirate flags, it is somewhat refreshing to see citizens protest while waving their own country's flag. But when these Gen Z protesters made it to the walls outside the National Palace, they attempted to scale the
I feel like I'm watching the second Lord of the Rings when the orcs are crawling into Helm's Deep.
Makeshift barricades.
Except I'm rooting for the orcs.
Later trying to tear down the gates, only to be met with a rainbow of OC sprays.
Damn. Bro, this is wild.
But this didn't deter them, as they kept at it, chanting, "Yes, we can." As I would say their protesters were more serious than American idiots in their inflatable suits, but even
because the difference is why they're protesting. The American protesters are protesting against nothing. They made up an imaginary enemy to protest against, right? They can call Trump a fascist and say no kings, but none of that matters because he's not a fascist and not a king. So their entire protest is completely, to be honest, it's not authentic whatsoever. It's a plastic protest that's designed by billionaires pushing people around like pawns to sow chaos in the nation. These people are protesting for their nation, for their country.
They had an activist in an astronaut costume, which doesn't completely negate the seriousness of this, but it does show how performative these protests are becoming, as they did eventually break down their barricades.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's wild.
Using the other gates to face off with the police.
Bro, this is wild.
Successfully taking away other parts of the barricade.
Oh my god. They took down the walls. Bro, look at this insanity. This is wild.
But this was just the beginning, as there were still
Dude, look at this face-off.
Hundreds of riot police now forming
This is a civil war. We're like witnessing the beginning of a civil war.
Sort of Greek phalanx behind their shields, to which the rioters tried to break through.
Bro, the Greek phalanx is working.
Implementing some not so successful tactics.
Pretty weird. I'm noticing no Palestine flags, no LGBT flags. Oh no, they got a shield! Oh my god.
Until the police phalanx began to advance on their position.
This is crazy. Bro, you do not expect the Mexican Inquisition.
And when they finally clashed, it didn't go so well for the Gen Z rioters, with some of the riot police being snatched by the mob and beaten.
Oh my god. Oh my god! Oh!
In other instances where the rioters fell behind police lines, also being beaten.
Dude, this is a fucking nightmare.
But eventually, the riot police were able to push back the mob outside the National Palace, completely clear.
Dude, that's crazy. This is wild, man. Like, obviously, politically, I'm on the side of the protesters, you know, but god damn.
And out the courtyard, restoring order. Now, when the Daily Mail covered the riot, they reported on the Gen Z protesters calling for the president's resignation, as 20 of them were arrested for battery, assault, and robbery, with 60 officers.
The cop got punched in the dick in the uncensored version. Bait. No, I'm sorry, but that's crazy.
Also being injured, with 40 of them being sent to the hospital.
They're literally fighting for the future of their country. Like, dude, they assassinated 37 mayors, dude. That's insane. They're fighting for their country's future. This is an actual national war.
As President Scheinbaum accused right-wing groups being behind this, and although she wasn't actually at the National Palace as this happened, she later denounced the Gen Z protest and violence that occurred, Now, I don't suddenly trust the mainstream media, especially to translate another language and to tell me what's actually happening, but judging from the massive amounts of people waving the Mexican flag against their far-left president, I'm somewhat inclined to believe this president isn't actually representing the people.
I would agree. In fact, if she would be representing the people, they would not have needed to assassinate 37 people to get her elected. You'd think that the person that represents the people would actually get the votes from the people. You wouldn't need to assassinate 37 political opponents. That's kind of a dead giveaway. Now, I don't know if Decoy Voice caught up on that news, but like for me, that's a bit of a dead giveaway. All right, I'll be real, slight giveaway.
Where recently, a conservative senator from Mexico actually came to our media to say the same.
Is Mexico a narco-state?
Yes, it is. And we all Mexicans know about it. And Mexicans are afraid.
No, what are you going to do? You're going to talk about it and get assassinated?
The alliance between the Mexican government and the cartels that have infested our nation.
Can you explain this alliance between the president, her party, the Morena party, and the cartels?
The cartels have given so much money to these politicians, narco politicians of Morena, to get into office, to get the power. So they protect, the Mexican government protects the cartels. That is why President Sheinbaum doesn't want the strong American leadership to help Mexico defeat the cartels. Also, Sheinbaum doesn't want the rest of the world to know what is happening here in Mexico. We are on the steps to be the next Venezuela.
Which really makes you wonder why places like left-wing Bloomberg see this story and write their article from the perspective of how can President Sheinbaum stop these protests, and not why does most of Mexico believe they have a narco president?
There's a very obvious reason why the left-wing owned media is saying that the left-wing government that's run by terrorists is corrupt. It's the same reason why the left-wing media never reported on Epstein while the Democrats were in office. It's the same reason why the left-wing media is literally out there supporting and glazing every terrorist organization they can find. It's why the left-wing media is taking George Soros money and propping up Antifa. It's because their stated goal is the destruction of Western civilization. So obviously they're going to run defense for the guy owned by the narco people. Chances are pretty good they're owned by the narco people. It's very likely that all of them are owned by China or different communist groups. It's very, very likely that that's the reality. It's actually not far off from the realm of possibilities at all.
So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary...
I appreciated it, thank you. But yeah, no, that's where we're at. There is this global agenda that is being pushed. It is this hedonistic, anti-God agenda. And it really is. And that's why when you look at left-wing policies, every single one of them is literally anti-God. Right? Abort your babies, don't get married, pro-LGBT everything, transgender for everybody, castrate your children. Like, it is the communism, steal money that was earned by people that earned the money, and give it to people that didn't earn the money. It's like every single major policy is directly anti-God. And it's a global movement. It's almost like it's demonic. Almost like it's demonic. Not saying it is. Don't want to be labeling people, but it's almost like there is some evil spiritual influence in some grand plan throughout the world to kill us. Physically and spiritually. Almost like that's the case. Now, I just wanted to say, I'm praying for you guys in Mexico. I really am. All right? I personally have lost family members to terrorism. I have, in Israel specifically. And I'm praying for you guys because this is terrorism all over again. The cartels are ruthless and vicious, and this is not a way that people should need to live. You have the right to your own country, and fight for that. Fight for it. I'm praying for you guys. Best of luck out there. I hope this can be done as non-violently as possible. But you're up against terrorists. Good luck, guys. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.